Alrighty, g'day guys, welcome to another game of Legion TD on FBG. I'm gonna drop and reroll this because I don't really want to play it. Okay, nice. Yep. Question is, do I 3-0? He's fine on 2. Actually, no, he's not. He's going 3-0 start. Okay, let's cover 2.
What must I do? Why have I been summoned?
I said this was FBG, right? If I didn't say this was FBG, this is FBG. Yeah. Anyway, so one of these guys asked me to talk a little bit about time. So time is really simple. If you go and find a clock, and it goes fucking tick tock as each second passes, 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week. You know, that is time. Alright, topic over. No, obviously I'm kidding, right? It's time within the context of the game. So we're gonna have a little chat about like what is time within Legion TD, like when do you want it and how do you get it. Okay, so you've probably heard the expression time is money. That's like kind of true in Legion TD, right? Time ain't gold, but time is lumber, and lumber can be gold, right? So your wisp here, old mate, ticks once every 10 seconds, you get a tick of lumber, right? And that tick is 2 plus lumberjack. So if my lumberjack is 0, I get 2 wood every 10 seconds per wisp. Sorry if we're kinging. I don't want to miss income. Okay, we're not king. That's fine. Right, and then obviously as I push more wisps, push lumberjack, that goes up. Wisp gives me just an extra tick every 10 seconds. And then lumberjack increases each tick by 1. Really, really simple, right? So obviously the more wisps and the more lumberjacks you have as like amongst your team, right? The more time you want in the game, because if it's slower, right? If there's more time, you get more lumber. Lumber is good because lumber is gold, and lumber can be used to hit this guy over here, right? Nothing wrong with doing a little bit of that. Cheeky love tap for the king. So how do we get time? Biggest way to get time is by sending, like so. Double Spirit, it's quite popular at the moment. I know it's quite popular at the moment, so I don't really want massive amount of time this early on, because this early on it's less about the time and it's more losing money is quite punishing, right? Because if you can imagine, team loses a whole lot of money, especially the more like carry-esque roles. If they lose a bunch of money, they don't get to push early, which they might otherwise want to. If they don't get to push early, the time isn't even that good for them because they don't have to push, right? And honestly, like, I'm just going to full greed here and take all the feed in mid because I'm really good at this game or something, right? You can see now they've sent early, I get my early push, right? Which means I'm okay with this time. I'm going to push this lumberjack anyway, even if we send 3. Alright, so how do we get the time? We get the time by sending. Well, we get the time by leaking, right? Or by there being leaks. How do we make leaks? I mean, the way we try and make leaks happen is either by sending or by leaking ourselves, right? Underbuilding deliberately, presumably deliberately, and then leaking ourselves. So that's how we do that. Really simple, right? As you can see, I get a super early 5-1, right? Super early 5-1. I'm going to be 6-1 on level 4, which means that I don't care anymore if I break on level 5. If they want to resend 5 because they saw, oh, zombie, let's send on 5. It's like, yeah, I don't care because I'm going to be like 7-1 or something, right? Which is obviously really, really solid to have this early push. It's at the cost of my team, but that's okay. So because I get the like massive increase in early push from the feed, right? I'm not scared about the game slowing down. I'm not scared about breaking because I know that I have the push to help me recover and to make it not painful anymore. So, when do I want time? I want time when overall amongst my team we have, it doesn't even have to be a good amount of push, it just has to be more push than the other team, and holy crap, why does it look like I'm leaking here? Anyway, so as I was saying, I'm happy to have time. Oh, what the fuck was that? That's not meant to happen. Anyway, yeah, so I'm happy to have time, so obviously I deliberately underbuilt here and then made time in the game. Yeah, right, okay, interesting.
Let the killing begin.
Yeah, so when do we want time? When we think either we can like get the damage on the king, right? To force the king up, which means we can push more safely, or when we just think that we have more push than the enemy team already, right? And that's the key, it doesn't, like in a quote-unquote regular game, right? A game that's not massively blown out of the water by like big early leaks or, you know, big king leaks to warriors, anything silly like that, right? As long as that isn't the case, then kind of lost my train of thought a sec. As long as that isn't the case, then you want time when you have more push than your enemy team, right? Than the enemy team, or when you expect to have more push than the enemy team. He's doing great, man on 5, sure. Right. So do we think we have more push than the enemy team at the moment? Probably, right? They sent 2. They were presumably at least somewhat scared of 3 because they see 1 lane needing everything. So I especially, but my team in general, got to push a bit after their 2 sent. And then they didn't really get to push, since they didn't goal us any at all. They didn't scout any king, obviously we hadn't done any king, but they didn't scout any king. Or anything like that, right? So they're scared of ascend. And I am just getting gapped here, by the way. This is not going well for me. Anyway, they're eating that send as well, which is unideal. Man. It's almost like I don't know how to play this game at all. What is going on? You know the most ridiculous thing is that I still have a good game. How sad is that? Alright. Anyway, we'll take a little look at their mid. So, AoE. Yeah, so the AoE doesn't mind the Dark Trolls too much normally. This is like EA, I think. Wow, there's a Thunderbird already. Wendigo with Night Saber and a Disciple. Okay. Immolation. Good news is they're probably not that keen to send on 5 since they were fairly overbuilt, but we'll see. And obviously I'll just push up. So then you might think, okay, when is Clog good, right? So Clog obviously increases the amount of time in the game very, very significantly, right? But it's significant enough to the point where your opponents will also get to push, right? And probably be rewarded for their push. As well, right? And end up fatter because of that. So generally you want to do that when you feel like you can't contest the early game properly with low income, low income, both teams, like low income, low king. You feel like you can't contest the early game, or if you think you will just have significantly more push, right? And that you'll get an advantage that way. The other option is, of course, to do what's called a proclog. Also, man, my focus is just not where it's at today. But that's all fine. You can do what's called a proclog. So if you watch that, I believe it was like the hour-long, no, it was the semi-final game, Tabernacle versus Wolverines, right? It was a really, really, really proclog by the East team, the Canadian team. Really nice clog, like 20 to king, beautifully executed, right? And that with their immolation, and that really screwed over West team. So it made them feel like they couldn't push because it wasn't that many leaks, but it increased the time, so they broke to the sends anyway, right? Because obviously the sends got bigger. As the sends get bigger, it's harder to hold. Not only is it harder to hold, it's harder to be rewarded for holding, if that makes sense, right? Like this game, Like I was rewarded for holding 2, right? Because I got lots of feed, but let's pretend I stayed low for level 7, and I had like 2 upgraded zombies and 2 upgraded spiders, which I don't like this game because I got so fed and because it slowed down, right? But let's pretend that's what I did, and then the enemy team did a prog log on 5, like, I don't know, 18 king legs with 0 attack and like 4 regen or something, right? So like a really nice clog. Then I'd feel like I wouldn't have enough time to justify pushing and sacrificing the hold when I was already low, but I would break to the send, right? Or even if I got lucky and they didn't send kobold or I sniped the kobold or whatever, right? My mid would be relatively small versus a relatively large send, and then I wouldn't really get any feed out of being mid, if that makes sense, right? I wouldn't kill much in mid. And while it might help my team out, it wouldn't really be beneficial for my own lane. So, you know, that's obviously a thing we've got to be aware of as well. So yeah, probably a bit overpushed here, but we're kind of chilling. What are we sending? Oh, well, spirits. Alright, we have immolation, yeah. I should probably pay like slightly more attention, hey? We'll just see if we want a kobold or not. Alright, anyway, end up 7-3, so still fine in the game. It's kind of cracked how much I leaked on 3-4 though. It's no good. Yeah. Probably. We'll just see if we get a King's yet. And I don't really want to be honest. I would rather just break. I think it's better just to break than to do moguls. I don't really care about MO. Let it be MO the MO. Right. So this game, you can say it's been quite a slow game, right? There were leaks on level 2, level 3, whoops, level 4, whoops, level 5. There were leaks on 5? Pretty sure there were leaks on 5. And there were leaks on 6, whoops, right? So there have been leaks every level besides level 1 in this game. So even though there haven't actually been any king leaks beside like 2 spirits or something on our level 2, even though there haven't really been any king leaks, right? It doesn't matter, the game is still really slow, so all the lanes that have pushed will be feeling better, right? And will be rewarded for pushing old mate 3-0, right? Whether it's correct or not to be 3-0 is like a whole different question, and I honestly don't know because I haven't been focusing enough to really have an opinion on it this game. But he's not going to get rewarded for being 3-0, right? Like his lane won't be fatter being 3-0 than it, like mine will being 7-3, for example, right? Like, it doesn't matter that I just somehow managed to leak fucking 30% of all the waves. It's like, it doesn't matter, I'm still gonna end up fatter.
More lumber is required. More lumber is required.
Alright.
More lumber is required. More lumber is
And to culminate off a nice slow game, we're gonna have double large king leaks. It's not MO versus MO, but both teams king lake bid. King lake fairly large, there's going to be quite a lot of king gold. Once again rewarding the YOLOs because it helps the YOLOs to recover on 8. Specifically in my case it helps, you know, unfuck up my earlier, shall we say, suboptimal builds. I mean, in fairness, I just like shouldn't leak 3. Like 4 is whatever I can live with, but 3 is just like, come on. And then 6 was fine. Yeah, I'm actually only annoyed about 3. Anyway, it's all good. -1. Born now. Oof. Ouch. No good for them. Alright, so this is an example of like a really slow game, right? Or quite a slow game, which we're okay with playing our roles, right? We have 3 roles that are pushing up. He can carry 15 on high income, even though he'll like struggle to carry 15. He'd struggle to carry 15 in a faster game, since Sprite will struggle to recover on 8. But this game he won't have too much problem on 8, because he has a lot of income, there's a lot of king gold in the game. Right now there's a lot of king gold, right? So he's going to have a fine time. He obviously has push, so that's all good. And it doesn't help out his lane, but he helped out the team by staying low, right? So, you know, you're essentially trading off your lane for the team there. In a fast game, you're trading off essentially you're trading off your team's YOLO rolls. You're saying, like, if you're overbuilding in a fast game, you're essentially telling your team's YOLO rolls, like, yeah, you guys probably won't get to carry this game, right? Because I want to, and I'm going to take the feed to try and do that. Whether that's correct or incorrect very much depends on the individual game, right? There's no really right or wrong answer. Yeah, so there's that, which is, you know, kind of interesting. You can see now that blue ends up fatter than me, right? More or less the same income and more value, a little bit more value, right? Basically just because, you know, I leaked on 346, whoops, despite all the feed on 2. Man, imagine how bad my game would be without that feed on 2. It's actually disgusting to think about, holy hell. Anyway, it's all good. So what about a faster game, right? When do we want a faster game? Some units are nice, like excel in faster games, obviously. Overbuilds in general would rather play a fast game, because if you're going to be 3-0, you'd rather be 3-0 for 5 minutes than for 10 minutes, right? That's literally how it works. Because you're probably going to end up like a similar sort of push, 7-5, 7-4 after arena. So if the difference between you and the YOLO lanes is like you're on 40 income and they're on 80 income, you're probably going to be fatter because you probably have close, like you probably have 500, 600, 700 value more than them, right? But if the difference between the YOLO lanes and you is like you're on 60 income and they're on 140 income, yeah, you're not going to be fat. You're not going to be the fat lane anymore, right? It's about like when overbuilding will pay off for your lane and when it won't, right? Obviously, if you get fed enough, then you can always be like fine in the game. But generally, you know, as the game gets slower and slower, or the slower the game gets, the fatter the YOLOs get compared, and the weaker the holders get, right? In terms of like total percentages of teams' value, right? Slow, like a fat slow game, YOLO's more important. Or like YOLO's a greater percentage of team value, holders a smaller percentage of team value. Faster game, holders or overbuilders greater percentage of team value, YOLO's lower percentage of team value. Right? That's just how that goes. I think that's relatively simple to understand. So a good example of a fast game. So what I was talking about, units that like fast games. So they're obviously like overbuilds in general appreciate the fast games. Things that can also like fast games are like if you have just 4 bad rolls, you can try and play with some overbuild. You can just try and play a super fast game and make it so that nobody is strong enough to hold a mid-game send, right? Because if nobody is strong enough to hold a mid-game send, then it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter that your rolls are crap, because if they can't mid anyway, then, you know, it's way less punishing, right? That's just how it is. Also, Tok is an example of a specific unit. It's very good in a fast game, right? And that's just because Tok has consistent output. Fudge well, okay. But there are 2 pandas already. I don't know, man. Whatever the team decides, I'll do. So if you want a nice example of a fast game, our first tournament game versus Moa's team, 4-0 challenges. Guess I'm doing my own verb, looks like it. There are 2 pandas, I'm just going to send Panda a wild mass. Cool. Yeah, our first game versus 4-0 challenges, that's a nice example of a fast game. Where we had 2 lanes that had bad enough rolls to the point where Troll Fighter on 3 was their best option. I was basically forced to overbuild to try and take feed with like a relatively weak Lord roll. Or, well, Lord dead value, right? But good units on 7. 2 got off, that's fine. We'll just do like that. Actually, can I afford... No, I can't. Oops, that is misplaced. Sorry, I'll pick up my train of thought in a sec. I also like have to not completely TK my team. Not completely. It is round, so I'm okay with like a bit of TKing, but yeah, you know. I think I've done enough ticking already. Holy hell. Okay, cool. So yeah, that game I think was a really nice example of just trying to play a really fast, weak game with heal manage, right? To just try and break them mid-game and turn it into a race, right? A race that could be acceptable for us. Okay, I'm pushing 7-4 just, I guess. Cool. And I honestly think we managed to do that, to execute that pretty well. Obviously ended up in a loss still. But I think that game showed pretty nicely the upside of like a fast game in that sense, right? Where just no one is fat. No one can really hold. And because no one is fat and no one can really hold, it matters way less what units you get, right? Because even if you get like the optimal setup, you probably just clear. And just clear is like, you know, it's something, but it's a lot less problematic if the other team is just clearing as opposed to the other team is like mid, right? So that's kind of how that goes. Good thing we sent pandas, I guess. So I think that more or less concludes the discussion about time. Obviously this is a nice example of a slow game. Well, I say nice example, it's kind of not. Let's pretend I got lucky 3, well, I didn't get unlucky 3 and I got lucky 4, I think is the way to say it. Right. Lucky 3 and or lucky 4 and not unlucky 3, right? Let's pretend that didn't happen. I'd have more push in the game and then I'd be able to, you know, try and use this as a better example of a slow game where I was rewarded for, you know, pushing in a slow game. I was still rewarded for pushing in this slow game, right? I was just rewarded less because I leaked and I had less push. But yeah, I think that'll about end the discussion on time there, or end like what I'm going to be talking about. Obviously, if you got any like questions, comments, whatever, feel free, shoot them at me. I'd be interested. Be interested to get around it. But yeah, besides that, we'll just talk about this game as normal going forwards. I can focus up slightly more. Stop passively TKing. It is Ranskop though, so honestly he deserves it. So I don't feel too bad about it. It's a nice roll on him though. Okay, so Polar Cannon, pretty solid 13. And Send Snipe with Ascending Cannon 14, so that's not bad. I go 4th Butcher here because Butcher's pretty good on 13, 14. And I feel like they're not up for a race 15. I did not pay attention if they're going with that. Okay, so they're -3, right? But yeah, 7-7, don't then just die 13. Well, we don't have to. Alright, cool. Nice arena win. But yeah, figured just 4th Butcher because I had the gold for it. Feels easy, you know. They're gonna leak already, mate. They ain't skipping 10 to not leak. Not in this sort of a game. If the game is really fat, I can consider like skipping 10 into no leak 15. But I mean, this guy's gonna leak 11. He doesn't have that many archers actually. Mixed with NG early by the looks of that. Or started NG egg, rerolled into archer, probably most likely. Yeah, we're just Thunderbird. I don't know. I think they die 13. Well, it's full Might Saber, maybe not. You reckon? I feel okay about 13. Well, maybe he's right actually. I feel like I'm mid, but I obviously haven't had a very good overview on the whole team. I basically ate so many bosses on 10 that I thought, yeah, I'll just go 7-5. But in the end, I think I'm mid 13 either way. What's the chance they're 12? I think it's absolutely 0 versus my lane, so I should be safe to just save money on 12 and then drop reroll. I'm still on free. No, I'm on 50. Yeah, that's right, I had turret. That's fine, I'll drop like a zombie and a life steal. And I can go butcher life steal and like 3 upgraded spiders. If I get nothing better. And that sounds relatively fine.
I am prepared. Thy bidding.
Four behemoths. Do we reach the cooldown for 4 behemoths? Maybe if the leaks are slow enough.
Has begun.
Wow, Rans, you're really thinking
Surely the wiser.
2 steps ahead, my man.
That's a gift.
Job's done.
Man, I think I'm never
Thy bidding.
building that much.
I am
Research
prepared.
job's done.
Did I get anything useful here?
Out with it. Enlighten.
Potentially Rider,
Begun.
but probably not Rider,
I am prepared.
but potentially Rider.
No
Interesting.
one shall be the wiser.
Definitely wasn't reward. Actually, I should just get Priest, right? I mean, they're gonna send Gargs and my butchers will kind of melt anyway. It feels like I lack the damage, if anything. Definitely not a good reroll. Pure Behemoth. I mean, it's interesting. It's just trying to get Quirtles to King. Oh, they send here.
Thy bidding.
Well, I didn't full build, but I was gonna like full save. So I'm glad I didn't save everything. I think this is probably better for us than 13, even though I saved. Because I feel like I'm still mid. Maybe I'm not, but I feel like I'm still mid. Yeah, okay. I figured they would just nav at 12, but I mean, if I'm mid anyway, we don't die with 3 heals, so we're hard chilling. HAR, 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 push once more. Well, I guess Neotank is like the best unit now because I just build them and I'm good on 16 and 17. God, we really didn't have much king. It's okay though. No. 28 attack. I believe the king is slightly weaker than it used to be, so I want to say 27 will sometimes gap you and like not quite hit the 2-shot increment. I could be wrong. I don't know. Either way, we're not dying here. We're probably keeping a heal even. Is there only what? Yeah, there are only 2 more blisters left now. Yeah, we're keeping 1 heal. Keeping 1 heal is nice for sure. Makes it harder to die on a 16 if that's the angle they go for. It probably is a 17 send now. I mean, they have double mutant, so maybe they're just trying to hold it. Which means maybe I overpushed. I mean, I'm still super fat though, so I don't think it matters that much. It's still like kind of hard to win just because like maybe he rolls good, but he has like cannon and mutant that he showed, and he has mutant. They're not fat, but that's probably like enough gold for them to think about recovering, maybe. Anyway, it's all fine, I'm 7-7. And no wonder we didn't end up with much king. Rans is, he didn't want the income. I mean, that's okay, man, if you don't want it. I'm more than happy to take it. Yeah, I'm really surprised they went for the 12 send. I'm not sure what they expected. Did they think they'd break me with malicious? I mean, I used my 50 reroll and saved 170 gold, so I saved like 220 gold. in the end, and I had an unupgraded zombie. Wow, that's awkward. I saved 220 gold and had an unupgraded zombie. It's almost like there's something I could have done with that 220 gold that one-shots 12 and has like 2000 HP or so of medium armor with a lifesteal aura. Can't think of what that is though. Yeah, it's kind of awkward. But you know what? It's all good, because we didn't die. And we probably need that much king anyway. Well, I mean, yeah, it's a mistake per se, but I'm quite surprised they went for that send. So we're going to do Neo tanks in front. It's, as I said, it's good 16, it's good 17. I'm already fine on 18 because I have butchers with lifesteal and I can do some cyborgs. It's not like Neo tanks are useless 18. Also, there was just no leak 13, but if there's no leak, we can just send like 18 or 20 maybe. I don't want to send 15 now. If the leaks stop, we don't need to be scared about dying 17 in my opinion. I mean, in the end, right, even though I'm 7-7, I'm nearly 3,500 value with 145 income and like pretty good units for 17, right? Not crazy, but like pretty good. Definitely enough to deal with like a 2600 send or a 2600 send, let's say. So it looks like the Neo tanks are dying here, right? And you might think that's bad, but that's actually exactly what I want. In the sense that I want them to share the damage on 16, and then if I get scared of them getting sniped on 17, all I need to do is put a tier 1 or tier 2 in front of them. And if I put a tier 1 or tier 2 in front of them, they're not gonna, Don't ping my line, fuck off Rans. No, I'm just kidding. If I put a tier 1 or tier 2 in front of them, that will make the butchers run in front of their Neo tanks and protect the Neo tanks. And I'm not sure, they're pretty low value. I actually don't hate the leaks if I'm honest, but you know. I mean, in the end, we break that. We probably break that unless he's like TOC backline or like cannons or mutants with helicopter. Probably break that because it's full dead value, low income. Even a 40 gold blocker because he's on Parasite. This is the one that's like potentially problematic. Extra time isn't better if it makes us lose a race. But it's probably kind of hard to lose the race. I feel like I won't like 17. And I'm not personally scared of 16. Well, I mean, maybe I should be, right? That's the thing, like, maybe I should be scared of 16. Because I'm good on 16, but all my team is bad. I don't know. As you can see, I've been like relatively self-focused this game. And that's literally just because I was focusing on other stuff. I'm not, but he knows I'm not. But yeah, that's just because I've been focusing on what I was talking about, honestly, like more so than the game, right? And that just is what it is.
Job's done. Job's done.
Royal Griffin and tanks, I mean, he has one Royal Griffin. And yeah, he's right to be like concerned about 16, right? Yeah, there was 173, but there were like 2 7-7s or something, right? One of them at least. This was 7-7. I want to say this went 7-6, this was 7-3, and this was 7-5. I believe those were the pushes. But yeah, we'll see if they send here. I don't think they actually will, but it's possible. Okay, they don't. That's all good. But yeah, as you can see, the Neo tanks taking initial damage here is perfect, because none of them are actually going to die because they're relatively tanky. Okay, so sending here demon.
I pledge my loyalty.
I guess I go Firelord Kraken? Or do I go 2 Kraken Behemoth? Let's go Firelord Kraken. I'm not sure that it's correct, but we're gonna do it. Alright, so we're gonna get one more of these. Then we're gonna get a High Priest.
Job's done.
Because why would I not get a High Priest?
Job's done.
Not really much in this reroll. And then all we're gonna do, right, is we're gonna put Old Mate,
Complete.
Geomancer right here. And we're gonna watch what that does.
Job's done. More lumber is required.
So what this will do is ruin my damage share. But I'm okay with that because I have a pretty dedicated front line and a pretty dedicated back line. On 16 I want the damage share because none of the individual Neotanks would actually end up dying. But on 17 they definitely can. I probably should have asked for someone to do my furb. I probably should have done it myself. Anyway, Demon Kraken. So let's look, watch this Geomancer. See, he ends up here. Now look, there's a Butcher in front of all the Neotanks. Only one of them needs to get through for all of them to be able to get in front. Now you can see my Neotanks, none of them are going to get sniped early. I have like a really weird flank overload here, which is not intended, but I guess just Neotanks are fat. It actually lets the demon hit really early, so it's not good for me, but I'm still mid. It's actually quite unlucky there, because it just gave the demon basically lots of things to attack, which is not what I want. But it's fine because I'm still mid. I actually have the highest income on my team by a very small amount, so that's cool. I guess we'd rip here without send, hey. So my Firelord made it mid, which is good, but... Orange, okay. Ended up with just a meat wagon. Alright, fair enough. Guess that was good enough. Pink being mid is not a surprise to me. So the good news is green is an irrelevant lane for the rest of the game. The bad news is time is going to keep being a discussion this game because it is not ending here. That's okay. So next end is like probably 24. I feel okay about going 7-9. Oh. And what we can do now is get rid of this Geomancer again, since I'm going to start upgrading these. Well, I say that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop and reroll in probably on like 20. I'm going to drop and reroll. And then if I don't find anything that I really want to build, I'm going to start upgrading these, and upgraded Doomsdays are not going to really be getting sniped. Alright? Because the health goes from 1,420 to 3,015, right? So the health goes up more than double. A little bit more than double. So, because those are relatively unlikely to get completely sniped. I mean, 1 or 2 of them might, but all of them won't happen. So I am totally fine with them tanking some initial hits. It's just when there's small Neotanks on 17, specifically 17, I'm a bit scared. 18 I would be fine with the damage, yeah. Yeah, you can see like this one, if this was 17, this Neotank is probably dead, right? If there's a send buffing the creeps a bit, and if the creeps are the 17 creeps, this Neotank's dead, which is not what I want. Even though it obviously looks a lot nicer. In the end, that Geomancer completely ruined my lane, but I think it was a little bit unlucky that I ended up with like 4 butchers over here, giving the demon something to do. But it's all good.
That's a given.
So yeah, we'll chill until 20, then I'll drop and reroll. So I'm going to be able to drop probably like 6. Okay, yeah, I can drop 6 on this this amount of food, so that'll be fine. Do we want to? I mean, we're also pretty bad 24 at the moment, right? Like, pretty much everything on his lane is relatively bad 24. I'm pretty good 24. He has a lot of units that are pretty bad 24, like all the Greymanes, all the Privateers are pretty useless. And I would say mutants are like not great. Thunderbirds, definitely not great. Druids, I don't think they're great 24 either. Druids are okay as damage dealers, but I think the only good looking lane on our team for 24 is me at the moment, which is okay. Right? In the end, like, if it's just to completely erase, then one mid is enough. I probably don't need to drop 6 Neo-Tanks, by the way. Like, I don't think I'm ever building that many, because I'd rather just upgrade to Doomsdays at this point. And if I build 6 more Neo-Tanks, that'll be, what, 12 times 450? Like, that's too expensive. So I'm probably dropping, like, 4. Or whatever, we'll drop 5. I can only drop 5 anyway, as it turns out. Mass is off. Okay, I got L balance. Cool. By L balance, I of course mean the Priest of Darkness. Specifically the Meridian. I think I still upgrade Doomsdays, but I go Dark Priests for now. Especially because they're better arena. Arena 28, interesting. We can do that. I mean, I just rolled off Doomsdays, but it's probably still okay. I mean, Dark Priests are just cracked, so I don't mind. If you want to do that, we can do that. We shouldn't ever die 27. 27 is not a very good level. I don't think we need to feel the fear 27, so let's go Demon Crack and an Ancient Tree, I guess. This is almost certainly yellow leaking. I don't think they want 21 though, that doesn't seem very likely. I don't think they send Arena. I think they'll just look for 24. Yeah, they have some siege, but they probably switch completely off it now. And even if they don't, we can think about sending on a different level as well. If we want. Right, we're not locked into 28 after Arena necessarily. Right, we can still 27 if we want. We can, well, we probably can't 24, but that's fine. We can 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, depending what they want to do. But yeah, we'll get old mate Ancient Tree, because he gives the bonus stats to the units are doubled, and he gives them to all the Send types. So we'll get those rolling, because we may as well, right? The most ancient of ancient trees. Okay, so yellow pushed up to 7-11. Rest are a bit lower push. I'm fattest in the game. Yeah. Yeah, it's between me and pink, but after the arena send I'm a bit better. Before the arena send I think I'm a little bit weaker, but you know, that's not bad. It should be an arena win here realistically. As you can see, Ancient Tree is bringing up the rear. Which is a good place for him, right? You don't want him to die because he is just the carry. This will be an Ancient Tree focused arena. I don't care if you guys want to watch the actual fight, we're going to watch the Ancient Tree here. As you can see, it's he's a little bit stuck. That's alright, we love him. He's still on full health, so good job to the Ancient Tree. Wow, he's attacking. He actually got to attack. I'm really surprised by that. Good job, Ancient Tree. Oh, he's taking a little bit of damage now. Oh, there he goes. In the front. Yeah, okay. Didn't last very long. It's cool though. I believe we're winning. I have a few Meridians, but I've got a couple left as well. And we have just more stuff in general. Yeah, it hit like 3 times, dude.
My bidding, no one shall
Ancient Tree is just cracked, man.
It has begun.
Alright, reroll number 4. Okay, that's pretty good. Griffin, Ascendant, Oracle, Parasite. Can't be too sad about that. I don't think this is going to be an Oracle game, though. I think it's going to end.
Thy bidding.
Okay, I want a full build here in case they decide to go 21, which I don't think they do. I'm actually just going to get 3 more spiders, am I? Yeah, I'm going to get 3 more spiders. I actually really rate the debuff. So looking at the lanes, we got a few mutants, Dark Mage Helicopter going butchers, but we're like 7-11 push or so and relatively weak. A Hydra, Midwagon, Meridian. Hydra, Butcher, yeah, Mutant Cannon, Trollfighter, Captain Auras. Okay. Got Forsaken ones, built probably not where you want them. Doomsday. Couple of TS, Oracle, Griffin. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna go for Doomsday upgrades as I said. Because I think they're better 24. I'm gonna upgrade that one. No, I didn't build a Dark Priest upgrade for the spiders. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so I'm just gonna go for the Doomsday upgrades and then we're gonna go rest Meridians and we'll probably reroll after we send, whenever that is. 28 presumably. Like maybe they go for 27, but I don't know. I feel like we're probably okay. We might not be. It's definitely possible that we're not okay. Do they ever go 22? I mean, realistically, no, we have siege on every lane. It just doesn't seem sensible.
No one shall be the wiser.
I guess they 24, 27, or 28, realistically. I feel okay 27. But at the same time, like, as I've said a couple of times already, I'm pretty self-focused this game. So I'm probably just only feeling okay on 27 because I'm fine on 27. Or at least I think I'm fine on 27. I suppose I could be wrong, but I think I'm fine on 27. In the end, like, these butchers are going to be massive with buffs from the Doomsdays, right? Once they are all upgraded, which will be relatively soon. I would really like a Witch Doctor. That's okay, we can make that happen. Yeah, you can see these butchers, like, Old Mate here has 3300, 3200, 3k. Like, they're very tanky. Which is obviously quite nice. So I'm fairly confident that I'm relatively can't break this game. I have good units, good value, good income. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just don't break this game, which is cool. Okay.
Upgrade complete. Research complete.
So I've got 2 Neotanks to upgrade. Costs 900 gold, I get 526 plus 426. Great, I can upgrade my Doomsdays, which I'm happy about. Yeah, so the Doomsday upgrade, it's mostly just for the front line to make sure none of them actually, or hopefully none of them actually get sniped before the butchers go in front, right? And you can basically think about it the same way as 16, except that because the levels are harder now, the units that are damage sharing need to be tankier. That's why we have Doomsdays. But yeah, I mean, 3800 HP Butcher, like they're all over 3k. These Butchers are scary. And you can see these Doomsdays, they're not really gonna get sniped for the most part. Like, I might be losing one of them on the send level, but probably only one, if any at all, right? Which I'm obviously very happy about. Because if they tank that initial damage, and then the Butchers go in front, then, you know, the Doomsdays are able to DPS as well as the Dark Priest Meridian DPS. That will be quite a good look. So they'll leak in, maybe they end up sending 24. They don't have to. but I mean, it seems relatively likely. We'll just see. I'm pretty sure that I'm mid, but I'm not sure that anyone on my team is. I guess Rands is the next strongest by like, and then there's quite a margin between him and Red Purple. Purple had like a little bit of a bad game early on. Bit of a tough one on like 2, and then didn't have the most efficient push after that. And obviously Red stayed low early, which was helpful. But he's definitely not getting rewarded for that decision. I mean, like, it had already evened out because the game was slow. So Overbuild had already like sort of petered out in terms of the value it gave him. Probably like 15 or so.
Job's done.
Get an Axe Militia. And probably not, right? I mean, sure, why not, actually.
My brothers.
Job's done.
Okay, rounds with a reroll. End up with Cannon, which is like a pretty good damage dealer. It's probably fine with Goliath as well. Yeah, I'll just do that and then
I am prepared.
farm up, bank the rest. Like, 1 Goliath's nice, Cannon is a good damage dealer. We rerolled Dark Mage, Oracle, Goliath, Hades, that's pretty good.
Research complete.
It's pretty good for sure.
Thy bidding.
Did they send here? They do send here. Cool. So we'll see how we do. I think I will be big mid. But we'll just see if we... Firstly, if we die. Secondly, if anyone else is mid. I guess if no one else is mid, we die, right? So the Butchers are having the same struggle moving, but as you can see, I haven't actually lost any of my Doomsdays yet, right? All of them are still alive, which is quite good. Man, these Butchers are really having trouble. But it's not that bad that they're stuck at the back, right? It's really not the worst thing ever. Wouldn't say it's efficient, but it's, you know, it's not the worst. So do we die? I was correct that I go mid. It certainly looks like we die. Rands clears. He clears well. There's a lot of leaks here. How about us? A fair few leaks. I think we're gonna die. I don't think I can deal with this many creeps. We'll see, but I think like even just this is enough to kill what I have in mid. Really, definitely like missing the Witch Dock, but we'll see. I mean, they're like folding in fairly slowly, so maybe the Meridians can just do enough damage. It's possible. I mean, I've definitely like already done a good amount of damage here. Looks like it's not quite enough. I think it's not quite enough. Yeah, with Immolation. Maybe with Thornmail we're okay. Or maybe with 2 heals we're okay. Because I mean, a decent number of these are bowmen as well, right? But I'm pretty sure there's just like enough of the creeps and they're tanky enough that we will die. It definitely looks like it. Yeah, I think Thornmail might have even been a live here, which is kinda cool. Anyway, it was a good game for sure. Ended up going pretty well for me, even though 3 and 4 were, shall we say, unideal. But I mean, I didn't really get punished for it in the state of the game, right? It was still mid on every level. I was trying to be mid in terms of holding sands. So that worked out well enough. But yeah, cheers very much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope the sort of chat about time for the first 10 odd levels and then just the rest of the game was interesting. Like, subscribe, all of that, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.